Welcome to another edition of Palm Wine and Plantains. Today I'm going to introduce you to a superb cooking sauce. In fact, I think it's one of the biggest legacies that Nigeria has given the world, because it's eaten right across Nigeria, and I know that other Africans enjoy the sauce. I'm talking of the Nigerian tomato sauce. Normally, you would have this variety of ingredients in the typical Nigerian tomato sauce. And we're talking of onions, tomatoes, tomato puree, palm oil, ginger, garlic, paprika, bay leaf, and your normal cooking salt. All of these ingredients would normally need to be blended together to make the typical Nigerian tomato stew. But fortunately, Odega House no longer makes it necessary for you to go to the palaver of chopping onions, blending your tomato, and bringing all these ingredients together. They've done all of that now for you by producing this excellent cooking sauce, the Alafia Niger Tomato Sauce. This sauce is, for me, a very powerful indication that the African cuisine, especially West African cuisine, is coming of age. It's evolving, and like other culinary cultures, it's now evolving superb cooking sauces that is making it easy for the world to begin to enjoy our cuisine. Now, this sauce, I know right from when I was a child that most households depend upon it from one end of the week to the other, because it goes with virtually all kinds of carbohydrate dishes you can think of. It's superb with pasta, it's superb with chips, it's superb with rice, it's excellent with couscous, it's excellent with boiled plantains, fried plantains, it's excellent with yams, it's excellent with any type of carbohydrate dish you can think of. It's actually beautiful. It's superb as a pizza topping as well. As I said, I believe it's one of the jewels in Nigeria's culinary culture. Now, on this occasion, I'm going to show you how to prepare a typical Nigerian tomato stew with beef. But the choice is entirely yours. You could either use chicken or beef or lamb or pork or whatever type of meat you prefer. I'm going to show you how to prepare a typical Nigerian tomato stew using beef on this occasion. Essentially, all I'm going to do is to pop the beef into the saucepan. For this quantity of beef, which is roughly half a pound of beef, I'm going to just put a dessert spoonful of salt, because tomato tends to require quite a bit of salt. And then I'll just tip in 2 jars of the Alafia Tomato cooking sauce. That's 1 jar gone in, and then this is the second one. And then I'll add some vegetable oil, roughly 200 mils, but as you know, the amount of vegetable oil you consume is a very personal thing, but I tend to find that just 200 mils for half a pound of beef is plenty. I'll turn the heat up very slightly, and that should encourage it to begin to cook. I'll stir it so that the sauce and the beef becomes well incorporated. I'm sure you can see how it's beginning to come together. I'll just add, in this jar you have some beef stock, which I'm just going to add to the saucepan. I'll stir it some more. And then, just before I leave it to simmer, I'll add some onions, but this is entirely optional. I find that I like the poignancy of fresh onions in the sauce, but it's entirely up to you. It's something optional. So all I need to do now is just to stir the contents of the pot or saucepan, and to make sure that the contents of the saucepan is all well incorporated. The cooking sauces, the onions are all in perfect harmony, as it were. So I'll just put the lid back on and leave the stew to simmer through on the back burner. Now you could leave it on medium heat for roughly 20 to 25 minutes, just until the meat is tender and the onion is softened, and then it's ready to serve. But first of all, before you serve it, you taste for salt. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll show you the next dish on the item. So while the stew is bubbling away very nicely in the back burner there, I'm going to show you how to prepare the accompaniment to the Nigerian tomato stew. Essentially, it's on this occasion going to be white boiled rice with some fried plantains. So what I'll do is I'm going to put some boiling water in this saucepan, and then I'll tip my rice into it. This is roughly 500 grams of long grain rice. Cover it and bring it to the boil. Now, while the rice is coming to the boil, I'm going to prepare the second accompaniment, which is fried plantains. So I'll just put this in the back burner here and bring my frying pan forward. I'm going to put some vegetable oil in the frying pan and heat it up before I begin to fry my plantains. I'll get my chopping board from down here, and I'll begin to cut this into rounds. Now, plantains belong to the banana family, and all the plantain is just a giant banana. In African mythology, plantains are believed to be a symbol of fertility. It's a rhizome that annually propagates itself. So all I'm going to do is just cut this through into rounds, and it's optional whether you add salt to your plantain or not. I normally just add a pinch of salt, so I'll just add that quantity of salt. Just put it in the bowl, and then I think my vegetable oil is hot enough. All I'm doing now is just to make sure that each of the plantain pieces is slightly salted, and then I'll use my slotted spoon over here and scoop in bits of the pieces into my heated vegetable oil. Now you don't want to crowd the frying pan, and you don't want the oil to be too hot, otherwise you find that the oil begins to bubble over. So what you're doing is you're just frying it on the medium heat, and all it takes is roughly 2 to 3 minutes on either side, and you have beautiful golden fried plantains. Now I'll just make sure that each of the plantain pieces is cooking through on each side. While my plantain is frying, I'll just see how my rice is doing. And the stew is simmering away very nicely there. And it would appear that the plantain is turning golden brown. I think I'm happy with the progress it's making. So I'll just flip each of the slices, I'll just flip them over so that each side gets the opportunity to cook through. You can see I'm making sure that it's cooking on medium to low heat now, and that allows me to control the cooking process beautifully. I'm just going to use a slotted spoon and serve the plantain slices onto the kitchen paper, which is going to get rid of the excess oil. You can see how lovely the plantain slices have turned out. And all it takes, as I said earlier, is 2 to 3 minutes on either side. I think the rice is cooked through now, and so has the stew. As you can see, it's looking mouth-watering. So all that is left for me to do is just to serve the entire dish onto this garnished plate, which I have here. And then a little bit of the plantain slices. And then that wonderful tomato stew cooked with beef. You can see how delightful and mouth-watering it's looking. I'm going to show you next another clever cooking idea with the Niger Alafia Tomato cooking sauces. What it is if you find that you are wanting a buffet party to have a variety of meat served, for instance, you may want to have lamb, beef, and chicken served. What you could do is, instead of serving it just as plain fried chicken as I have in front of me here, you could make it a lot more interesting by just adding a little bit of the Niger Alafia tomato cooking sauces. I'll show you what exactly it is I mean. Now I have some fried chicken here. I'll just put it in this saucepan. I'll just add a dash of paprika. Just to make it a little bit more interesting, as opposed to you just serving your guest plain fried chicken or plain fried beef. This makes you a more imaginative hostess, as it were. So all I'm doing is taking about half the content of this jar and spooning it onto the chicken pieces, the fried chicken pieces. Now what I'm doing now is optional. You could do this, that you just add a stock cube, or you could leave it out. It's entirely up to you, but I tend to just crumble on one stock cube to this quantity of fried chicken, and then you just stir in the tomato cooking sauce, just to give the fried chicken character and color. I think I'll spoon in just a little bit more of the tomato cooking sauce. And I'll put it on medium heat. As you can see, the chicken is looking a lot more appetizing. The flavor is thereby enhanced, and that's it. As you can see, it's all well laid out here and ready to eat. I've invited some friends across, and I would like to invite them to the set to taste the dishes we've been preparing all day and give us their reaction to the various items we cooked earlier. I have here Joan, who is kindly agreed to come along to taste the dishes for us, and I have Glenys as well. Thank you so much for coming, Glenys. Thank you. And Caroline is here with us as well. And finally, Lynn, who is also agreed to come along to taste the dishes. Now, ladies talking, and let me have your reaction to the various items I have been preparing today with the viewers.
Looks good. Delicious. Gorgeous.
Particularly, how do you how do you think the beef works with the tomato? I know some people probably prefer chicken to go with tomato, or they're inclined to use fish with tomato. How do you think, and this is pure British beef as well, how do you think it's performed on this occasion? Lynn, what's your...
It goes really well, I think.
It goes really well, they complement each other.
Oh, John, do you like it as well? Okay. And plantains, is it something that you're used to in Britain now?
No.
A couple of years ago, they would call plantains queggies. But it's becoming the in thing to experiment with various fruits and vegetables from around the world. As I was saying to our viewers earlier, plantains belongs to the same family as bananas. It's just a giant banana. And in African mythology, plantains are associated with fecundity, because it is a rhizome that propagates itself annually automatically. And so it's something that is eaten right across West Africa. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you very much, ladies, for coming along. Thank you.
Thank you.